Hello, everybody. All right, today we're looking at one of my favorite thinkers that is always wrong, in my view. He tries, and he's on the side of using reason anyway, but he doesn't quite use it right. I am talking of nobody else than, of course, Sam Harris. So we are going to explore a lot of problems with his, quite known, I don't know, famous, yeah, quite famous, stipulation about what ethics is, starting with the worst possible misery for everyone. I'm going to try to just listen to the video just through without interrupting. I might just blurt out a word here and there, and then we'll come back at the end and analyze everything. So, without further ado, here is Sam Harris.
Imagine a universe in which every conscious creature suffers as much as it possibly can for as long as it can.
Rationalism.
I call this the worst possible misery for everyone. The worst possible misery for everyone is bad. Okay, if the word bad applies anywhere, it applies here. Now, if you think the worst possible misery for everyone isn't bad, or maybe it has a silver lining, or maybe there's something.
Yeah, it's bad, but not for the reasons you define it as. You're saying it's bad because this is bad, not defining it. Onward.
Worse. I don't know what you're talking about. And what's more, I'm pretty sure you don't know what you're talking about either.
Sorry for keep interrupting, but Sam always brings up debates like this. Like, it's this, and if you don't agree, then I have no idea what you're talking about. Always setting it up as this is the only reasonable, rational position. Get back to that later.
What I'm saying is the minimum standard of moral goodness is to avoid the worst possible misery for everyone. If we should do anything in this universe, if we ought to do anything,
the minimum moral standard is to not contradict reality or try to. That is the standard of objectivity. Is it true in the sense is it objectively true? Is A or not?
If we have a moral duty to do anything, it's to avoid the worst possible misery for everyone.
Conflation between duty and morality.
And the moment you admit this, you admit that all other states of the universe are better than the worst possible misery for everyone. You have the worst possible misery for everyone over here, and all these other constellation of experiences arrayed out here. And because the experience of conscious creatures is dependent in some way on the laws of nature, there will be right and wrong ways.
Not on some ways. They are completely dependent on the laws of nature.
Move along this continuum. It will be possible to think you're avoiding the worst possible misery for everyone and to fail. You can be wrong in your beliefs about how to navigate this space.
Okay. Well, so, all right. Sorry for interrupting a little bit there, but I had to get it out. So, okay, we're starting off with ethics as a rational thought experiment. This is common. A lot of people do this. You probably heard of the trolley problem. Like, imagine this situation. Imagine this unimaginable situation, basically. This is rationalism. This is armchair philosophy to the max. This is sitting in a dark room and thinking, and through thinking alone, you try to solve all the problems of the universe. Not even solve all the problems, but try to figure out what is in a dark room. It is basically impossible. So let's go specifically to his example. Imagine the worst possible misery for everyone. Well, already this is an impossibility. He doesn't define it, of course. He's like, well, whatever it is, it's the worst. It can't get worse. Well, of course, you can always imagine something worse. Any situation you bring up, I can imagine it as worse, and so can you. Just it's always can be worse. Like say, well, what's worse than having a shark biting off your arm? Well, two sharks biting off two arms. Uh, and then so on and so forth. Maybe there's a, there's a little ant that's also biting your neck. Maybe there's two ants that's biting your neck. Maybe there's a slightly bigger ant that is biting the ant that is causing that ant to bite you harder, and so forth. You can always imagine things worse. So there is no worst possible misery for everyone. So already the starting point is completely reducible. If you can't start with the starting point that is reducible. If you do, you are starting midstream. We're not starting from any foundation. Of course, Sam is not starting from a foundation. He is starting midstream. This is utilitarianistic argument here. The argument that like, what is moral? Well, it depends on everybody's experience. No, what is moral is also what is practical. It is the rational, acting in accordance to nature, acting in accordance specifically to your nature as a human. This is what is objectively ethical, objectively moral. It's also practical. So this idea of defining what is good and bad based on other people's feelings is starting off on shaky ground. More so, it's like starting off on completely unstable ground, starting out in a cloud, essentially. So, and as he says, he can't imagine, if this is not bad, he can't imagine what is bad. Well, I'll tell you what is bad. Believing that A is B is bad, right? That is the definition of bad. It is the not accepting reality is bad. Not accepting that the identity of things, not accepting that the thing is what it actually is bad. So bad is not defined as misery. And then another thing, conscious beings. Again, this is another thing that is completely reducible. Like, what is a conscious being? He won't define it. Of course, he can't define it. And that's the point of this thought experiment. He's like, well, whatever you imagine it to be. It's like, no, what is it? You're the one giving the example. Define it. Define your terms. We cannot continue if you do not define your terms. As Voltaire famously said, if you wish to debate me, you must first define your terms. Well, same thing with Sam Harris. This is impossible to debate specifically because even he refuses to define his terms. So if he defined his terms, he would have a completely different conception of what is good and what is bad. The only way to objectively define it is to accept objective reality, that reality is reality, that A is A. So yeah, he uses rationalism, he uses utilitarianism as the moral ground for everything. Basically, sort of democracy. What do most people feel? What is the experience of most people? And let's kind of calculate that and decide what is good and what is bad. Well, it doesn't depend on what most people feel for truth, right? It doesn't matter if 99% of people feel that feel that the grass is purple. It is green. And people say, well, how do you know green's green and it's different? It's like every indication allows us to accept that green is green. Well, what about colorblind people? Well, they understand that they are colorblind in the same sense that we are trichromatic eyes, right? 3 crystals in our eyes. Colorblind people are dichromatic. They only have 2 crystals. And we know this because dogs and other animals are dichromatic. They have a dichromatic structure in their eyeball. Most people are trichromatic and they see they experience color in the same way. There are a few very, very rare exceptions of quadrochromatic. Anyway, 4 crystals in the eye, and they can see colors that us typical trichromatic people cannot see. A red will look like red to us, but to them it's a totally different color, and you ask them how it is, they can't quite describe it because it's like trying to describe color to a colorblind person. It doesn't quite work. This does not negate the fact that our senses are valid. We know that our senses are valid. If you, like, for instance, anytime you drive a car, you trust your senses completely that they are objectively true of whether a car is coming or not, right? If you see that there are no cars coming on the road, then you can drive knowing that there is no car that is going to hit you. If you can see the road that there's full of cars, you can trust that it is full of cars. In this sense, our perceptions are 100% valid. So anyway, it's based off of, everything is based off of perception. But of course, consciousness is not what creates everything. Existence exists, and that is the primary. And consciousness makes no sense unless there's something to be conscious of. So to recap, Sam Harris starts midstream, starts in a weird, unstable foundation that is undefined, and then goes on to say that if you disagree with me, I don't know what you're talking about, which is classic Sam Harris. I hope that I made it a little bit clearer, and that, yeah, these rationalistic thought experiments are not what leads you to morality. And clearly, the worst possible misery for everyone, which is an undefinable starting point, is clearly not the way to ground morality. We need to have clear definitions about what it is. So, hope you enjoyed me actually thinking today. If you think I was thinking badly, let me know, and I'll see you next time.